Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Home Lee. I'd like to welcome you all back to the channel. Going to get into a video that's been a long time coming for me. I've had this thing since at least early August, probably late July. This is my rifle Hades. As you can tell, there's a little bit of fading on the box. I've had it long enough. Got 59 rifle rounds there and one there. And I am a fan of the Artemis before this, and there's one reason I purchased the Hades is I was a pretty big fan of the Artemis. And I'm not particularly a fan of that safety. I do kind of like how they did the priming indicator on this one. May have to do the buttstock like Tom from Phone Data Services suggested. He got an adjustable real steel buttstock and put on the back there for it. And in my last video I showed that I had printed the foregrip that Tungsten had made. That will be coming pretty soon to be put on this. I like this grip a little bit better than I did the Artemis one. I mean, it's still vertical, it still has some problems. It doesn't go in as much here at the top as the one did for the Artemis. This might be my end war primary. I'll have to see. I also have one that I purchased from Valor that should be on the way relatively soon, that he modified. I might use it instead, kind of depending on what the FPS numbers end up looking like. But I really like the feel of this. To me, it's not much heavier than the Artemis, especially the Artemis. I carried it in war. I'd put the front grip from Out of Darts on it, and then the stock piece as well, and ran a Worker, the Lightning Storm knockoff stock, which was a really good stock for it, but you know, I don't see a whole lot of difference. There is a difference in the weight, but there's not a huge amount of difference in the weight between the way I ran that Artemis and this. And the advantage of this is it holds twice as many rounds. Plus it's going to be a little quicker for me to top off as I go. So I do think it's kind of funny that you can kind of see a line around through here, almost like where they took and put the two tubes from the Artemis together kind of thing. I mean, this is very reminiscent of the Artemis. If you've seen anything on the rival Artemis, then you know you pretty much know all you need to know about the Hades. Of course, there's tons of videos out there on the Hades already. So I'm gonna pop a few rounds in this bad boy and shoot it myself, because I've been dying to get this open. I'd hoped to do some range test and chronoing, but weather has just not cooperated with me to get that stuff done like I would like to. Yeah, I don't think that works on these. Can't exactly double load these like you can a lot of the other Springer rival blasters. But I'm a pretty big guy. I'm a farm boy. I grew up on a farm, so my opinion is a little bit skewed as far as weight stuff goes. Of course, I've not carried this around for a long time or anything like that, but I don't particularly see a problem with this blaster. So I may very well use this as an End War primary if I'm able to go back to End War 2019. I'm hoping Drac will drop the announcement on that pretty soon, location-wise, so that we can start making plans accordingly. He said he's going to bring it back home, which a lot of people are figuring that means he's moving it back to the southeast. He's taking it back to Atlanta, which that may very well be it. I could be wrong, but something that struck me the other day, home for what became End War is Missouri. So they may be moving it back out there, and that will be a little more central for a lot of people. So, you know, that may very well be where they move it. I mean, myself, Atlanta would be fine, because that'd be about a 4-hour trip for me. Whereas if they move it to Missouri, that's probably going to be a 8 or 10-hour trip if they go back to Springfield. So we'll just have to see. But this has been a quick view of the Hades. I really like the Hades. It feels good to me. There's not a whole lot more bulk than there is with the Artemis, and you get twice as many rounds. I realize when you get this thing filled up, there's going to be some added bulk, but I kind of like it. I definitely approve of the wider feeding mouth. I kind of wish that they would go back on any Artemises that they produce from here on out and make this wider on them, because that was something that a lot of people had trouble with the Artemis, because you could basically only get one ball in at a time, whereas with this you could potentially get three if you were coordinated and kind of used to it. I do kind of like the thumb hole stock area on it. I know some people have been take or leave on that. I like the sling point on the back. Probably run a single point sling, drop it there, and let it hang from that. That'd be a pretty comfortable setup for me. But this seems to be a good solid blaster from the rival line in the Phantom Core colors. And like I said, hopefully I've got another one on the way here pretty soon, and I can drop a video on that and show that to you guys. But this has been Homely, and I'd like to remind y'all to keep flinging that foam.